invite Partha from FPN team for the next presentation.
Thank you, Shriram, for inviting me in this session. So yeah, I am Partha. I have been working with Florida FPN network project this year with my teammate Vinaya. So after our certification and second stage companies, you are gonna listen from like Census. So we have worked on the problem with census data. So before starting, I wanna share some interesting fact. So the first census came out by like human was in 3800 BC by the Babylonians, and the United States first census was happened on 1790 August 2nd. So the problem we are working with, it's not like modern. It's the origin of its problem is like really old. So fast forwarding into the modern day US Census, I am going to share you some facts and some key points on that. So data collection has been changed, not more like by hand or by in person. It's just now taking on the internet-based and online. So in the United States, the data is being collected in 10 years, which is called decennial census. So the important part of the decennial census is this census data has been working with to the funding, the distribution of the federal assistantship program. That means based on the census data or decennial census, the funding has been distributed over the states. So as decennial census provides that, the American Community Survey or ACS provides the routine update on socio-demographic profile, employees data, and more to provide the standard business standards and the other institutions to get how the changes are happening into the communities. So they might know like the differences in 3 years or 5 years, how are they going on. So ACS is working on that. And the US Census also does the coverage measurement. So the reason behind that is to find out how the census is doing and whether there is any error or the way of removing that, that error into the next census. So post-intervention survey is one of the census measurement or measurement coverage of the US Census is doing. And last, we are talking about the 2020 census. That was the last of this decade, and 24th in the history of the United States. So all the things have been done in online and internet-based things. The methodology of data collection is not only modernized, the error has been also updated. Sorry. So one of the problem is undercounting. So what is undercounting? So the meaning of undercounting means when census misses people. It's just not like some individual people or like some definite persons. It's just a block or region of a group in an area that misses in the census. So how it happens? So historically, language barriers, internet accessibility, housing information. So this kind of things are working behind on it. But as we are working with 2020, you know what it is. So the census was like a mess in 2020 census, and we have been dealing with that. But the thing is, based on that census, there's a lot of area in the whole United States have been undercounted, and Florida is unluckily one of that. So Florida has faced the undercounting by the post-intervention survey report, and it's 3.8% of the whole population have been affected on that. So based on the region, like how is the impact you can look like. So according to Florida Tax Watch, Florida state will be losing around $11 billion to $21 billion by the end of the decade. So it's a huge loss for Florida. So considering this, our wicked problem is here. We're just trying to find out who were missed in the census and what is their demographic profile, what is the region, and which area from they are coming from. And lastly, I mean, as we are looking into the problem into the deep, we need to realize how is the response method of them, and what is the socio-economic impact of that. We got to know some of the Florida Tax Watch report, but we just looking forward to like how it will cover into our area. and how it will look like furthermore into details. So based on that, we have been working with Florida Philanthropic Network this year. Florida Philanthropic Network is a statewide grantmakers who expands philanthropy through research, education, and public policy. So FPN is working on behalf of to counter this undercounting problem, so that Florida is not anymore the undercounted state by the next decade. So Florida FPN has been reached out to the Texas census team, because Texas is another state with an undercounting like for 1.92%, which makes us, Florida is the highest undercounting percent of the whole over the United States. So there was a methodology have been developed by research led by UT Austin. But the thing is, FPN cannot just like plug in Florida data to get the undercounting values. And also there's an important point, like US Census doesn't provide the undercounting by county level or more detailed region, so that we cannot know in which Florida county is more prone to undercount, which area we need to look forward, something like that. So with this view in mind, FPN reached to DSSG team to get a Florida-specific data analysis so that we can find the county-level undercounting and how we can provide the data analysis to the grant makers so that we can impact the, we can counter the impact. So our DSSG project goals based on the data we found. So by the Texas report or Texas methodology, we take it as our base. So based on the data, we have been looking forward into the measures of what we can do. And we intended to find a county level undercounting population-wise methodology to provide Florida FPN network. And lastly, we have kept in mind about the dashboard and about the storytelling. How it would like help FPN to grow, and it would help to go to another fundraisers and something like that. So as we are working with data for social good, so we have been relied more on the public data available. So the US Census Bureau was our first data sources that we've been working with. So we have taken demographic profile and housing units data from US Census Bureau. We have also looked forward into our social factors. So we took the data from Opportunity Atlas, as Texas has been relied on that. But we have changed our measures because Florida is a really unique, and it has been like not the same parameters are occurring into here. So our other factors was taken from Florida Nonprofit Alliance and ALICE data. We have been taken the nonprofit organization involvement and poverty rate and how it is connected with economically. So our last data was Florida Supervisor of Elections. That means we have taken the 2020 voters turnout data from there. So that means how people are engaged into the county level and what is the civic engagement looks like. So these are our key data sources into our project. So yeah, again, here we go again. So about the challenges, we have faced a lot of challenges. So about the data collection, or the data-wise, we have been working with 3 decades data, 2020, 2010, and 2000, because whenever you are trying to find a trend, a 3-point analysis will be better. But the thing is, 2020 was completely different, and it was the parameters taken, it was not available in the 2020 and 2000 data. So we couldn't hold water onto the 2010 and 2000 census, so we have to stick on the 2020 data. And we have taken the measures based on our correlations between the parameters we have taken, and we found out which are the key regions or key measures playing behind on it. And based on that, we have cleaned our data. For that, we have faced problems with standardizing, and also we have to bound the data and rescale the data to get a better understanding and better visuals. Lastly, we have intended to provide a master file to FPN so that they can use it furthermore to use it for another analysis or whatever they need. So yeah, I'll stop by here and I'll ask my next teammate to show you the visuals and the methodology that we have done. Thank you.
Thanks, Partha, for inviting me. Yes, you can see that there is math behind our methodology. But for now, let's just skip to the concept behind it. So, in our approach, we deal with three main dimensions. So, first one is personal dimension. In here, we have taken into factor the two things, that is civic engagement and social capital. What is civic engagement? So it refers to how people are actively involved in their community activities. So more the people are involved in the community activities, more likely they are able to participate in the census as well. Next comes social capital. So this refers to trust, connection, and relationships between the people. So more the social cooperation between the people, more likely they are able to participate in the census. Our second dimension is geography dimension. So in this, we look into factor the two things, that is difficult to register and difficult to reach. So you can think of something like mobile homes or homes which are newly constructed, so that might not be registered, and the census workers might not be able to reach out to them, and chances of them being not counted is high. Finally, our third dimension focuses on the census campaigning dimension. In here, two main things are non-response rate and digital divide. So if the non-response rate is high, that means most of the people did not answer the census survey, and chances of them being not counted is high. And for digital divide, we all are living in the digital era now, and 2020 census was online for the first time. So, but here the problem is that a lot of the counties and a lot of the people might not have internet access. So, dealing with that is one of the major issue. That's why we are taking into factor of this. Now you might think that why only these dimensions and factors? Yes, census data is very vast, and initially we took a lot of variables that might be related to Florida undercounting issue, and then we did some correlations and chose the best measures. Now that you know methodology, let's move on to our results. Let's see what actually happened in Florida for 2020 census. In the dashboard, here it's a Florida map is displayed. So this shows the undercount percent for Florida. Um, the shade of the color represents the intensity of the undercount percent. You can see that Miami-Dade has the darkest color, and it is the most undercounted county, and the Nassau County has the lowest undercount percent. Now, if you just glance through this visualization, you can see that some of the counties in North region, South region, and Central region shows the highest undercount percent. Now, let us focus on the North Central region of Florida. Here you can see that most of the rural counties like Hamilton, Madison, Taylor shows the higher undercount percent. Next, let us move on to our second visualization, that shows the undercount estimate. So how we got this visualization is that we took the undercount percent and multiplied with the population of each county, so that we got the actual value, actual number of the undercounted people. Now, if you see here, you can see that in the north region of Florida, you can see more of the darker gray shade. That means it has less undercount value. That's because it has most of the rural counties, and the population share of rural counties is less compared to the urban counties. Now, if you see urban counties, you can see most of them are in the Tampa Bay region, northeast of Florida, and southeast. Now let us see top 10 of top 10 counties which have been undercounted. So if you see that, you can see that Hillsborough County, the Orange County, and the southeast, that is Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, Broward, and one of the county, that is Duval County in the northeast region, shows out. We do not have only the undercount analysis for FPN, but also we have done some factor-wise analysis so that they can have a deeper dive and get some insights. So this is a correlation. This map shows the correlation between percent of households without internet and economic connectedness. The blue bubbles represent the rural counties and orange bubble represents the urban counties. So you can see here that there's a negative correlation between these two. That means higher the households without internet, lower is the economic connectedness. But you can see one county, that is Flagler County. It's a slight exception. Although it has higher percentage of households without internet, it also has better economic connectedness. Similarly, we have made correlations for all the dimensions. Now that you have seen the results, let's just move on to our final slide, that is recommendation and implications. So let me break down the dimension-wise implication. So for personal dimension, we saw that most of the counties in north of Florida shows the higher undercount rate. Hence, we recommend FPN to connect with non-profits in these regions and come up with the strategies so that they can engage people and engage them in more community activities. For a geographic dimension, we saw that most of the urban counties shows the highest undercount rate. That is because constant development is happening and new houses have been built. For example, St. John's County, a lot of houses are constantly built over there. So we recommend FPN to connect with property register offices and come up with good strategy for proper geocoding so that it will not be an issue in the coming 2030 census. And finally, for census campaigning dimension, we saw that most of the rural counties are showing the higher undercount rate. That is because of the internet access. So we recommend FPN to improve internet access in these particular counties so that so that in 2030 census it won't be an issue. Now we are hoping that with all the visualizations, FPN has enough data and resources to come up with good strategies so that they can address the undercounting issue for 2030 census. Thank you. Now I would like to invite